So what happened? You wore black socks one time and they
killed me.
No, but did they spaz on you?
Spaz.
Can you say that?
I can say it.
But I'm saying though.
You can say it in the proper context.
Whoa.
Words matter. Words matter. We got to stop acting like words don't matter. Like you open up Webster's dictionary, there can be a word with several different definitions. As long as you're using the word in the proper context, it shouldn't be a problem.
So you know why I'm asking you that, right? Because of the Beyonce and Lizzo shit, right?
Yeah. And why are we letting people from the UK tell us about words? Do we know what they call cigarettes over there? You know, anybody from the LGBT community in America want to go over there and tell them to change the words for their cigarettes?
Wow.
We should return fire. We should.
All right, you guys can have spaz.
That's
but
right.
we want. I can't say it. We want it back.
Mike, please. No,
we want it back. Yo.
I'm gonna get you.
Nah. I'm chilling.
That's crazy. Yeah, dude. I think people. I don't know. I could see how you do want to be cognizant of a word that could offend some people, regardless of where you're from. You know, especially like Beyonce and Lizzo. They got the cleanest reputations.
Yeah, I agree. But once again, words matter. And we got to start having smarter conversations because it's literally like social media will run with something and be like, this is wrong. This shouldn't be said. And you're like, wait a minute. Life don't work like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's some gray area here. Can we have the nuanced conversation? And the nuanced conversation is that words matter. And it depends on what context you use the word in. And they should know that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He taught me really a long time ago a very important lesson. Be careful when you speak in absolutes.
Yes.
Absolutes, they're very dangerous. And now we're having this conversation around regional sensitivities.
Yes.
I could say something in English and somewhere in Zimbabwe,
That's right.
that might mean like, yo, murdering somebody. Like, I don't fucking know what that shit means in another dialect language.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? It's wild out there.
Now we did have I had W. Kamal Bell on my talk show last week, and he did say that you know, it just depends on if you want to make money, right? Because if you're in the UK and you're trying to sell your music in the UK, you got to read the room. So yes, I wouldn't go over to the UK and probably, you know, use that word, just like they can't come over here and ask for cigarettes. You know what I mean? Without somebody looking at them crazy.
Yeah.
So I understand that, but it's like, yo, man, that stuff like that should be a non-starter. Like that shouldn't even be a conversation. Why are we reacting to these people on social media like that? Why do we give social media that much power?
Why do
A lot of power.
you said it's money. It's money. It's how it's how a lot of people make their money. It's the form of communication that allows your thing to be seen.
Yeah, but none of us could create like we can't create like that if we get on platforms and because intention matters to me, right? So if you sit down and you have good intentions, right? And if my intention is good and I say something, if I say something that, you know, a word that offends you or whatever, you don't got to cut my head off for it. It's just a conversation. You know, I didn't sit down and intend to push you like that. But how can you create if you sit down and you got to really think about every single word you use?
We are in a
Like,
interesting time.
like how?
Yeah.
What's the point of doing a podcast every week? What's the point of doing radio if you got to think about every single word?
Do you know what that does to your creative expression in that lane? That's that natural lane of like what you want to say.
Mhm.
When everything that you want to say or talk about, you have to first push through a little
Oh my
filter
God.
or 10 little filters that sift out your creativity and end up in we've talked about this before, you know, like maybe we're saying it's a little harder than it is, but dude, there's just a lot of things to consider when you talk these days, bro. It's hard,
And
man.
think about 4 years from now. Think about the words we're using now. 4 years
Oh,
from
we're
now, that may
canceled.
offend somebody.
Oh, it's over.
I was going to ask you about this because you are a radio and talk show don,
Mhm.
and you've been doing it
Thank
for
you.
so long. Are you worried about what's in your catalog? Like, I'm a little concerned that people are going to look back on this show, you know, 10 years from now, and I will have said something that isn't okay. Then.
I get canceled 3 times a year.
Oh, no way.
What are you talking about?
Okay,
I get outraged from the internet 3 times a year. And it used to bother me until I realized, like, yo, I can't even trip off that because that's not even me anymore. And culture was different, right? Like, I always use the analogy of, let's just say 20 years ago, there was a highway and the speed limit on the highway was 80 miles per hour. Right? So everybody was doing 80. Sometimes you might do 85. Sometimes you might do 90 because you can get away with it, right? But over time, they realized, hey, man, people are going too fast on this road. So it's been too many accidents, too many fatalities, people getting hurt. So they reduced the speed limit to 55. 20 years later, you're doing 55 because you don't want to hurt anybody. You don't want to, you know, hurt yourself or, you know, end up causing somebody else to get hurt. So you start doing the speed limit. But what if you started getting speeding tickets from when the speed limit was 80 miles per hour when that was motherfucking legal?
Yeah.
You'd be looking like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
That's where we're at in right now. I think it's changing though. I think it was worse like 4 or 5 years ago.
For sure.
But I think it's changing now. I think the
pendulum is swinging back.
Yeah.
100%.
Not even swinging back, it's just becoming a balance. Like I think people realize like that's not sustainable because this is a circular firing squad.
Yeah.
Because everybody got some shit.
I know everyone. Right?
Every fucking body got some shit. I don't care who it is.
Man.
Not you.
No. He's a Christian.